Hey guys, it's Logan here at YOU. I'm here to show you guys how to fix a flat tire on your bike. All you really need or you actually don't need any tools, but if you do have some bike levers, those will really make it a lot easier. And then also, just depending on your bike, you might need a screwdriver, might make it easier also. Same thing, you don't need one. And then you might need an adjustable wrench. Same thing, most likely you won't need it. If you have an older bike, you're gonna need an adjustable wrench. If we have our newer bikes here at YOU, we don't even need the wrench. So then let's get right into it. So for the first thing you gotta do is we gotta release the brakes. That's might be different depending on your bike, but right here, all we have to do is we're squeezing these brake levers together and then we're pulling this brake right out, and that releases the brake. That means the tire is loose to come out. And then we're going right to my press release. This is where if you have an older bike, you might need a wrench, but we're lucky we have our press release. You're just pushing that out and then you're spinning it to the left. And then spin the wheel to the left, lefty loosey, righty tighty. Just be careful when you're loosening it, not to loosen it too much, because you don't want this to come all the way out, just because you do have some springs in there, and then you don't want those springs to come off. All right, so our next step is we're just taking off our valve, and that's gonna be the first part of the tire that we're gonna pull out. Sometimes you might actually need to take air out of the tire. The flatter the tire is, the easier it's gonna be to take out for us. There's a little needle right in the middle of there, and if you push on the needle, that will allow the air to come out. Once we have that all set, we're gonna take our levers. You have to get your hook of your lever underneath this bead part of the tire. Then underneath the tire, we're gonna see there's that tube. That tube we need to take all the way out and replace. So I'm getting that hook right underneath that part of the tire. Then if you do have your levers, it makes it a lot easier because you can hook it right onto the spoke. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take my other lever. Same thing, get that hook right underneath there, and then you're just running it along, all the way along the rim of your bike. When you're doing it, make sure your lever should be like in line with the wheel. If it's out here, it's not gonna work as well. You want it to be in line with the wheel of the bike. Then you're going ahead, you're going to find the valve, you're pushing the valve up, because that's the first part of the tire you wanna take out. When you're looking at your tire should be out on one side, and then the other side, if you can, you want to leave that in, so that stays in. So you're not taking the tire off completely. You're just taking this tube all the way out. This is the part that holds the air that we need to replace. All right, so our next step is we're getting our new tube out. Before we start putting our tube in, we want to put a little bit of air in the tube. It's going to make it a lot easier if it just has a little bit of air. And then once we put our tube back in, that's when we're going to use our bike pump and pump it up all the way. First thing that we should do is we're putting our valve in. So you got to find the hole on the rim of the bike, then you're pulling back that tire, and then you're putting that valve through the hole. So we'll pull that on through. And then all we're doing is trying to get this tire on the outside of that tube. And remember how I said it's a lot easier if one side of the tire is outside of the rim and that other side is still in, and then you're just kind of tucking it in. And when I do it, I just do it kind of like a loose fit first, because one thing we really want to avoid is making sure that this tube doesn't get twisted in any way and doesn't like bunch up. So I'm just putting it in loose, and when I put it in loose, I'm not worrying about getting this lip in yet. Now the tube's in there underneath the tire, and now I'm gonna start getting this lip underneath the rim. So what I'm gonna do is I'm putting the hook in there, and then I'm just going right around and getting that lip underneath. When I'm doing this, you're kind of just trying to pay attention to that spot where you started, because that's where it's gonna try to come out once you get all the way around. That's where you're just kind of pushing extra hard, and then you're getting that lip all the way in, all the way around the rim. You're pulling that valve all the way down, and then you're good to go to the next step. All right, so next step is we're pumping it up. First, you want to just check your tire. Almost all tires will have the pressure that's on it. So we're just getting that hole right on our valve, and then we'll start pumping. It's usually gonna take a little muscle just because we had almost no air in that. So I have to go and give it a good minute of pumping, I bet. We're just putting this cap back on, Next step, we're just putting the wheel back on the bike. When you're doing this, you're just gonna be careful to make sure that it goes back on the same way you took it off. I got the press release on this side. If you look at the bike, the press release should be on the same side of the bike, on the back tire and the front tire. So I'm just lining it up, putting it on, and then tightening it up. It does make it easier if the bike is upside down, because now you're kind of using gravity to help center that wheel right on the bike. And then your last step, you're engaging your brakes, you're putting that back on. Once the brakes are on, that's when you're really checking to see if that wheel is centered on the bike. You might, if it's not centered, if you're spinning the wheel and you hear anything, it might be rubbing right on your brake pads. And you might have to loosen these up again and then try to recenter the wheel on the bike. I think I did a pretty good job because I can't hear anything, so that means that we're good to go and we're all done. All right guys, so that's how we fix the flat here. Hopefully this helps you guys get your bikes back on the road. Good luck.